Good morning, gardening friends. I'm here to do a live with Keith Edwards this morning about moon gardening calendar. So Keith Edwards talks about it a lot on his page, and then I have been following Keith for the last year, and now I'm onto the moon calendar as well. So I'm just going to try and join him on. Invite. Here we go. Just takes a minute. Here we go. Good morning.
Bingo. Good morning, Joe. How are you, darling?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, well done. Well, really good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for fitting me in, because I know you got meetings today, busy
Yep.
consulting.
Yep.
So I thought it'd be really nice to jump on and talk about the moon calendar, because there's lots of new followers, and I'm talking about the moon calendar and you talk about the moon calendar, and some people are probably thinking, what's going on?
What's this all about?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And yeah, I love the whole it makes sense. Like, I love the whole concept and the philosophy behind it, because we've spoken about this before. Like, there's the real visual visual like of the ocean with the
Yeah,
moon and the way the tide works and all that. So it's a real obvious way to look at it, but the garden's doing magic as well with the moon.
that's right.
So thanks for jumping on, because
Mm-hmm.
I thought coming from you would sound a lot better than me fumbling through it.
No, not at all. I think between the two of us, we might do a half good job.
I'm like, dropping the kids to school this morning. I don't know. I'm just like, moon calendar.
Moon calendar.
I have
Okay.
the moon calendar.
Yep. I got
So
mine here too. There's
you
mine.
you gifted me this one less than a year ago,
Yeah.
and this is how I do my gardening each month. And so you can actually get this. I wrote the address on the back. So moongardeningcalendar.com.au,
Yep.
and you can pick that up for $15, and she's up in Queensland.
That's right, Cherie. Yeah. That was actually it was actually designed by her parents, Ray and Jean Scott, and it was all based on the gravitational pull of the moon. I mean, lots of people don't quite understand just how great that pull is until you sort of say to people, if you live near the ocean or live near the sea, you get 2 tides a day, and that is just the gravitational pull of the moon. And then when you think about plants are mainly moisture. They're mainly water. That's the biggest part of a plant is water. So it has an enormous influence on plants as well. And when people understand that, then and you don't have to understand it. All you need to do is follow the moon calendar. It is that simple. It just makes gardening life so easy.
And we've spoken about the moon calendar so much, and that's the first time I've really clicked into that, about the plants being mainly water.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
how's it work, Keith? What's happening each month with the plants? It's a 28-day cycle.
Yes. It's a 28-day cycle that's actually broken up into 6 gardening periods for different crops: when to harvest, when to propagate, when to prune, cultivate, and the best time for fishing.
Yeah. It's actually references
It
fishing on
is.
here.
And that was where I sort of looked at that and said to myself, there's my interest, because I used to fish.
Yeah.
And I had a fabulous uncle who would go away fishing, and he'd always come back with more fish that feed the neighbourhood than he could poke a stick at. So when I was growing up, I said to him, look, Uncle, when's the best time to go fishing? And he said, I'll always go on the new moon. Now, I thought the new moon was the big bright one that you saw in the sky, when in actual fact, the new moon you can't see. So we used to go fishing on the full moon, and the full moon made a fool of us, because we never caught a bloody fish. Not
Came
one.
empty-handed.
Every time, no fish.
And I love that you said, like, he came home with like buckets full of fish. Well, we're hoping to come home with buckets full of veggies.
Exactly.
That's our goal.
Yep. So today and tomorrow are the 2 perfect days for planting root crops.
Yeah.
So with your perpetual calendar you got there, you set the new moon on the date, which is the 29th for this particular month, and then just read off it. So if you have a look at, so I planted carrots seeds on the 17th of this month, and I still have not seen a single thing above the ground. Now, to give people an indication here, if I had have planted those carrot seeds on the first and second days of the high growth period, I would already have above the ground the embryonic leaves that would already be showing. And that is where you can make so many mistakes by putting the wrong crops in at the wrong particular time. So what's happening at the moment in these two-day sections there and the 25th and 26th, what's happening is that you have got incredible gravitational pull down into the ground. So it's pulling down things deep into the ground. And that is where those seeds that I planted on the 17th and the 18th, if I was to go and dig up one of those seeds, I can't see anything above the ground, but if I had a look under the ground, I would already have a long tapered root. And those roots are being drawn down through the soil by the gravitational pull for root crops. And I guess what we need to understand is people need to understand just what a root crop is. And there's things like carrots and parsnips, beetroot. And then, of course,
that's what I got going on here.
All going on down there. And, of course, the other things that are root crops are things like garlic and onions, corms, which are more into the flower plants. So, you know corms of flowers, bulbs of tulips, rhizomes. This is also the perfect time to be planting rhizomes. And rhizomes are things like ginger, galangal, turmeric, these sorts of things. They're all root crops, and they all work work best when they're actually planted during the 2 days of the deep gravitational pull through the earth.
And we've just had it. I planted all like my. I've got beetroot and I put carrots in. So I got that period, 2-day period. It was the 18th and 19th.
That's right.
So I am actually going to do some more sowing today of root veggies, and then get ready then for your 11-day high growth period for the above ground veggies.
And that's when you'll see those carrots actually start when you plant them. You'll actually see those carrot heads pop above the ground because they've already been pulled deep down into the earth. And then they will set up those 2 little embryonic leaves to come above the surface to act like solar panels to the sun, and then they start producing photosynthesis, and that photosynthesis then creates the 2 sugars that the plants live on, which is sucrose and fructose, and away they go. And you've just got the perfect growing medium. And the moon calendar is, separates the whole regime of growing and growing successfully. If you pick up a packet of seeds and have a look on the back of it, it'll give you an indication on how long it takes to germinate. And some germination could be up to 3 weeks, and I think that's just a load of rubbish. If you plant according to nature's way of using the moon calendar, you're working with nature, not against it. You're doing the right things.
And I love that. And it gives you a bit of structure how to plan your month as well, but knowing there's a reason for it. Like it gives you like that comfort that like the moon's doing what it needs to, and that it gives you that little bit of planning as well, because I'm a planner. So all the above ground veggies put into pots first, and then they'll go into the gardens. Because I know you've said if you're potted up into a paper pot, it doesn't really matter when you plant in the soil because it doesn't have the roots disturbed. So it's really about the roots.
It's all about the root system, for instance, Leslie and I just planted all our brassicas a couple of days ago. Because I had an opportunity to get out in the garden and re-prep the soil, add more beautiful compost, and put hoo-flung dung over the top, and so that we put those in, and they're all looking absolutely fantastic. But something that people can really get an awful lot of joy from is if you're not going to grow from seed, and there's some things that I don't bother growing from seed.
Strawberries.
There's things like
shocking.
Strawberries, but even celery and onions, chives. I would much prefer to go down to Bunnings or wherever else and buy a little punnet full of those particular ones, and plan it for the high growth period. And yeah, so the 11 days of the high growth period, and then you can actually get those seedlings, rip them to bits.
Yeah.
Basically, don't have to show them any, oh,
Mercy.
I'm
No
not going to, I might break
mercy.
a root off or something. You just go in there and go for it.
Yes.
And you're not going to, they're not going to transpire because everything is set up for them to be successful
Can I ask,
during
and I
that
don't think
time.
I've asked you this before, does it, as, like, obviously you try and go the first day, but as you get through the 11 days, is you're minimizing the effect?
You are. You're
Yeah.
slowing that down. It's sort of like a battery.
Yeah.
When you use a battery, it's bright and sparky,
Yeah.
and it goes through that stage where it actually loses charge over that period. And it's
Yeah.
exactly the same with the moon calendar.
So
So
try and
yeah,
get that
but
on the first days.
but you will still have success if
Yeah.
you do the planting during that period. You won't have a problem. But the earliest you can get to, and I mean, the example I would give is that I can sow a seed on the first day and guarantee it's going to be up on the third day.
Yeah.
And if people can do that and see the results of what they've got, they're more likely to continue gardening. And that was the reason why I sent you that moon calendar, was because I knew that you would follow it and that you would get success growing from it.
Yes. Well, this was on the first day of the high growth period. So this was on the 3rd
Yep.
of March. And so
Look at them.
look at them.
Beautiful. Yep.
I mean, and I've also did some brassicas on the day, and they're slower germinating and growing.
Yeah, and the reason for that too, Joe, is that it's not, for most brassicas, it is not their real time, this particular time of the month. That they are looking for heat in order to set the seeds off and going, but then they're looking for the coolness for them to actually start developing.
Yeah.
With the exception of Brussels sprouts. I mean, Brussels sprouts have got to be planted in February as seedlings. So they're started off in January, even the end of December, as seeds, and then they're planted as seedlings in February, so that they get that warmth to provide the big shoot of growth. So that I mean, mine out there would now be probably nearly half a metre tall.
Yeah. Wow.
And now they need that chill factor in order to help set the actual fruit, or set the actual vegetable.
And you have more chance of that being down south.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. And there's things that that you'll be doing where you are, but if you're following the moon calendar, it doesn't matter, because you've got to remember that moon calendar was developed even further north than you are. That's up in tropical Queensland.
Yes. Yes. And I love that. This is obviously a wheel. So next in April, you move it's the 28th is the new.
That's
so
right.
You just move it to the 28th.
Yeah.
So then your new dates are set.
That's exactly right. And the beauty about that one there is that if you look after it, you'll have it for more years than you can poke a stick at.
Yeah. Well, the kids got to it a little bit, and then I had all these stickers on the back of it, and I was like, oh my gosh. So it goes the same with if you're doing seeds to follow this, but also if a lot of people are still at the stage where they're just not confident with seeds, so they're still buying seedlings. So you still follow the same principles.
Yeah.
Like if you're buying seedlings, you're still doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I think, I just wanted to do a little overview because I talk about it a lot, and everyone should be following Keith by now. Landscape consultant down in Victoria. And if you're not already, please do. His daily posts are just like my morning ritual. But I just wanted to have that little chat. And we have spoken about it before, but there's so many new followers, and they're probably thinking, what are those guys talking about? So,
it's this has been known for thousands of years. It's only that we've got to the stage where we've got all this latest whiz-bang electronic, just gadgetry, that we've lost the plot in terms of having that understanding. Because I can remember, with my mum, she would go down and go to the local butcher shop, and the beginning of the year, she would get a calendar from him and one from the greengrocer, and they all had the phases of the moon on the calendar. And I used to look at that and think, well, why do I need to know when the next full moon's going to be? But everyone else was actually working according to that. Those that knew it and believed it. And that's how they work. And and it's such a shame that we've lost so much of that, because the market gardeners that produce a lot of the things that you buy from the supermarkets are actually growing all their vegetables in chemical
Yeah.
fertilizers.
And like different
A
environments and
totally different
yeah.
environment. You're getting a quick return on what you've got there. It's sickening when you actually think about what we're actually eating if you're not growing your
Yeah.
own.
Absolutely. Someone's just asked, I did mention at the start, but if you've just joined on, so the calendar you can purchase from
Yep.
moongardeningcalendar.com.au, $15.
And plus postage, yeah.
And
And
then,
you've
on
got
their
it
website,
forever.
yeah, and forever. And on their website, they just keep updating. You just go back onto the website and just check the months.
Yeah.
Like I've written down the next 6 months worth.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, and look, and I've spoken about this before, Keith, and you said no comment
Yeah.
on it. But you think about the moon calendar and you think about like women and our hormones, the cycle we go through every month, like it's like the natural forces within, like
Exactly.
we're up and down, we're like yo-yos
Yep.
sometimes and we can't control it. It's the exact same thing. These forces are like stronger than
Right.
ever. So trust
Exactly.
this. Trust this. And no comment probably still.
No comment.
But yes, yeah, follow along Keith's page because he talks about it best and he's always referring it in all his posts. So you have meetings today, Keith. So let's keep this one shorter than normal.
That's all right. No, that's okay. We're right. Yeah,
Great.
we're good.
Well, and then so yeah, we'll chat something with another topic that comes up soon, and we'll chat again.
Yeah,
soon.
we'd love to do that. Absolutely. You know that, Joe. When are you moving?
Yes, well, in my mind, I thought cycle, because I think I went to Google this morning. I think there's something about a 7-year cycle, like we go through a 7-year
Yeah.
cycle. And I was like thinking about, I lived in Melbourne for 7 years, Sydney for 7 years, and now I've been in Forbes for 7 years. So I think my cycles I think there's something about a 7-year
Yeah.
cycle. So yeah, I think I changed my mind this morning. I think maybe by December.
Oh, that's good. I mean, and you're going to Wagga Wagga.
Yes, Mum and Dad have a house there, and I don't have any family in Forbes, so I've kind of been
Yeah.
doing this on my own here. I've got beautiful friends and like such a beautiful network of friends for life, and my neighbours are just beautiful. But it's probably just time now the kids are a little bit older that we can go out and do some more things and have a bit more family time. So Wagga, yeah, Mum and Dad have a house there, and Mum's there quite often, so it just makes sense to move.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's a bit like
7 years is an interesting number, because if you think about the moon calendar, works on 6 cycles. What's after
okay.
6?
7. There we go. See, it's ingrained with me. I'm blaming now the moon calendar for my like drastic change in life, and I'm going to move to Wagga. So yes, I'll keep you all up to date. But it looks like because Ned starts school the following year, and he'll have to have practice days into a new school. So I've actually inquired, and I had a missed call from him this morning. So I've definitely got things in motion.
Oh,
but it's all
brilliant.
exciting, and the thing is, you can just set up your garden. It's such a universal thing, gardening. Like you can do it anywhere in the world, and so that gives me comfort that I love my home, but I can just re-establish it again.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's a new challenge.
And I've got this, pack this, and I'm good to go. I'm ready for a challenge.
Good on you, darling. That's fantastic. Brilliant.
Thank you. Thanks,
Keith. Thanks
everyone for joining on. Oh, that's a nice comment. We both are at the A team.
Oh, that's
go,
good.
That's lovely.
Lovely.
Talk to you soon.
All right,
and thanks everyone.
Joe. Have a wonderful gardening day.
I'll talk to you soon. Happy
All right,
gardening, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.